And today, authorities reported another day with no locally transmitted infection and no death is reported either.
And on the other side of it, there are still 7 imported cases, and most of them came back from the US and India.
All right. And despite the absence of locally transmitted infections for 35 consecutive days now, the government still finds it necessary to retain the state of emergency for at least another month. The current state of emergency will end this week, and the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration decided today to extend it into July. The decision will need to be endorsed by the cabinet tomorrow. The center today also endorsed a series of relaxations of the lockdown measures, giving largely normal life back to members of the general public starting July the 1st, that is a few days away.
And we can see that there are a few lockdown easing for the fifth phase as well. So there are a few things. So of course, the state of emergency will be extended till the end of July, but there are other businesses that will be reopening. For example, all schools and campus facilities will reopen fully this time. Department stores and shopping malls will now open at 10 p.m., which is the normal timing.
Good news for shoppers.
Definitely, because previously it closed around like 9 p.m.
Yeah,
so
right.
1 more hour extension for pretty much all of the shopaholics.
All right.
Convenience stores will also open 24/7. So if you're hungry in the middle of the night, you can just pop in at midnight as well. And good news for party animals. Entertainment venues will open until midnight, including massage parlors and tea houses will also reopen, as well as the gaming centers.
All right, so this is the fifth phase of the relaxation of the lockdown measures. And of course, there must be a question about these health safety measures, whether or not they can be maintained when all these venues reopen, right?
Definitely.
So Dr. Tavisin Visunuyotin, the spokesman of the anti-COVID-19 Center, said operators of these businesses will be required to enforce strict health measures. They will be liable to legal penalties if their places are found to be sources of infections. And of course, we have some good news today as far as the so-called travel bubble is concerned, right?
So finally, the travel bubble has been sorted out by the CCSA. So they have agreed to gradually reopen its borders to allow limited number of foreigners into the country. So the countries that are allowed in Thailand would be foreigners from Japan, South Korea, China, Singapore, and Hong Kong. So the groups of foreigners that are allowed inside Thailand, unfortunately, there are not for tourists or travelers yet. But the 6 groups include family members of those who have work permits in Thailand or who are allowed to work in Thailand by a governmental agency. That includes foreign expatriates, foreign spouses and legitimate children of Thai citizens, and foreigners who were married to Thai nationals and their children. Foreigners who want to receive medical treatment in Thailand, such as cosmetic surgery and assisted reproduction treatment, and that does not include treatment for COVID-19. The other 2 groups include foreign students and their parents, as well as non-Thais or foreigners who are allowed into the country under special arrangements. So these are the 6 groups of foreigners that are allowed as part of the travel bubble.
So that means we'll be seeing some active air traffic pretty soon now.
Yes.
Of course, there's one big question. If the countries has seen no locally transmitted infections for 35 days, so why continue having the state of emergency? So in answering the question today, the Prime Minister Kun Prayut Chan-o-cha said that even though Thailand has seen progress in the fight against the pandemic, it is still not out of the woods yet. And that's why the state of emergency is still needed. And with the latest loosening of the lockdown measures, he said the country is still at risk, or even more risk. He then went on to appeal to members of the public to cooperate in observing the health safety measures. And of course, he credited Thailand's success in the fight against the coronavirus largely to the stringent measures imposed under the state of emergency, which he said is still a necessary tool to deal with the situation. And when asked by reporters to respond to critics' charges that the state of emergency has been abused to curtail people's democratic rights, the Prime Minister said, curtailing what is a totally different matter. So this is his very standard answer to a question related to a continuation of the state of emergency. He would dismiss all criticism of the decree being abused to silence critics.
But on the other side of it, opposition MPs and government's critics have been pressuring the government to end the state of emergency, which they claim that has been used to stifle freedom of expression. Meanwhile, Public Health Minister Anutin Tanvirakul said today that several countries have shown interest in wanting to have their citizens to visit Thailand. He did not mention specific names, but said their embassies in Bangkok have made approaches with the Thai government. The Prayut government is in the process of working on criteria for countries with which Thailand plans to enter into a travel bubble arrangement. Prime Minister Prayut hinted today that the first groups of business travelers should arrive in Thailand under the plan around August.